everybody. It's Julie here. Thanks for joining me today. And this is kind of a different video than what I normally do. It's kind of a walkthrough, but I wanted to share with you how Bible journaling got me through the Hurricane Irma. So I'm going to share with you the different entries that I did during my week-long experience, not quite week-long, about 4 or 5 days that I had to go through the trial, the process of Irma. What happened was, for a good week, we knew that Irma was coming, but it was Wednesday before Irma hit on Sunday that we were released from school. And so we had Thursday and Friday off. And so I had Thursday and Friday to prepare, and we decided to stick it out. We're in Florida. But the reports were pretty good at that point as far as where it was going to hit. And so I just used my time to journal my faith and to journal my emotions and to really process the whole experience. So I wanted to share that with you and let it be something that you can see how journaling can really get you through, and it can be something that you can document your faith and document your experience, and maybe it will inspire you. And if there are any questions about any of the pages that I've done, I actually have done a couple of process videos on some of these entries, and so I'll be sure to link them in the upper corner as well as in the comments below. So here's the first one. I've numbered them. This one was on that first Wednesday, and I was still pretty good. I wasn't real worried at that point. And the text I did was, "Keep your heart with all vigilance, for from it flow the springs of life." And this is one, and this is in Proverbs 4, verse 23. This was actually a devotional that I wanted to get on the page. So it was about guarding your heart. And I just used a clear cut pad, and you can see how I just covered up this heart. So I stamped the heart, guard your heart. So I really wanted to focus on guarding your heart so that with Bible study and prayer, my heart can flow the springs of life. So that was the first entry I did. Then we move on to the second one, and I just uploaded this video. This was when I really started to get worried, and I journaled my prayer. His eye is on the sparrow. So I journaled my prayer, and I'm really talking about how I'm worried, and I had to focus on how when God's eye is on the sparrow, then I know his eye is on me, and he's got me. He's got me in his hand, and he's taking care of me. So that was the second one that I journaled. Let's see here. Where's 3? Here's verse 3. Here's this third entry. So I did date them all, and I did a journal process video on this one. In your presence, there is fullness of joy. So I was really focusing on being in God's presence, and I did this video. I will link it. This was napkin art. "You make known to me the path of life. In your presence, there is fullness of joy. At your right hand are pleasures forevermore." So this process again, this whole experience, I'm focusing on being in the presence of God so that even when I'm fearful and I've got a big hurricane forcing itself on me and on the whole state of Florida and on the whole Southeast, I can still experience joy in the Lord. So that was my third entry. Let's see here, where's 4? Okay, here's the fourth entry. And I did do a process video on this one. This was on September 8th, so this was the Friday. So you saw there were 2 or 3 from Thursday, Wednesday, Thursday, and here's Friday. "Nothing can separate us from the love of God." And this was using the Creative Retreat kit. I did an unboxing of this kit, and this was just a real simple process. Nothing can separate us from the love of God. And I really was just focusing on the love of God and how not even a storm, nothing can separate us. And it said that nothing, nor death nor life, nor height nor depth, nor anything in all creation, hurricanes, weather, nothing can separate me from the love of God. So I said, "Thank you, Lord, that your love is so great for me that nothing can separate it from me." So that was the fourth entry. Here we get to the fifth one, and this is abide in the vine. And I just stamped this background, and I was focusing on John 15, verse 5. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he is that bears much, I'm sorry, he is, no, it is that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Boy, I had a hard time getting that one out. So I said, Father, help me to abide fully in you. So I was really focusing on just abiding in his presence and abiding in the true vine. And the focus here, abide. So you can see the emphasis here was just really on focusing on Christ and how he is with me and that I am with Christ. So that was 5. That was on the 9th, still on Friday. So I was using my time. You can see that I was really focusing on just spending time in the Word. This was how I processed all of it. So that's 5. Here's 6. Okay, this was on Saturday, September 10th. Oh, actually, we're getting to Sunday. So my dates are all mixed up, and that's what happened when so many days were mixed up. September 10th, Hurricane Irma. This was the day it was hitting. So this whole day, we were just in the wait and see process. So I focused on Philippians. Grace to you and peace from God our Father and the Lord Jesus Christ. I really needed peace. I needed God's peace and grace that day as we were just waiting. We were in a wait and see, waiting to see what was going to happen, waiting to see how the storm was going to change because the path just kept shifting and changing. So I stamped these with a Stampin' Up, an old stamp set, and it's just a line art stamp image, and then I just colored it in with some watercolor crayons. And then I used a couple of different creative retreat kits. The newest one, the Faith Art Box from September, and then the August one. So grace to you and peace. That's what I needed, was his peace that day. So that was the 6th one. And then here, this is the 7th one. This is where it's really getting, it was really getting intense. So I did this one, this was about 11 o'clock at night when the storm was really getting strong, and I needed God's peace, and I needed God to give me the peace that he was going to calm the storm in my heart as well as the storm raging outside. So you can see here I drew the state of Florida, and I really just I printed out a picture of Florida and I cut it out and used that as a template. And so I did some sponging around here, and this is the text in Mark where Jesus was in the boat and the storm, and he stood up and he said, "Peace, be still," and the wind ceased and there was a great calm. So I used hope, pray, faith, and I wrote this prayer. Lord, I know and trust that you are more powerful than any storm, including Hurricane Irma. Be with us in this storm tonight and calm this storm. I put refuge, prayer, faith, and that cry, oh Lord. So, and then I wrote the text, who then is this that even the wind and the waves obey him? So that was really, in the midst of the storm, this was the one that I journaled. And that was, a lot of emotion went into this one. So that was 7. And then the storm hit that night. And it really wasn't as bad as it was going to be. The direction had changed. Yes, it was scary, and yes, it was intense, but it was not as bad as it was going to be. So this is my 8th entry. This is the next morning, and this is a thankful entry. And I really wanted to thank the Lord for all the support that he gave me through my community of sisters. I call them my Insta sisters, all my Instagram friends and followers and the people I follow, and just the people that were supporting me and praying for me and giving me encouragement. It was just a wonderful time those few days. And I wrote, Dear Lord, thank you for all the sweet Instagram sisters who prayed for me, encouraged me, shared verses with me, and helped me get through this storm. You've given me a whole community of friends, of sisters, a beloved society. So these images are from a Free Spirit Farmhouse. They're available on the Illustrated Faith Print and Pray set. Several print and pray sets are the beloved society. And I use the text, a friend loveth at all times, Proverbs 17:17. And this was the template that I used for the last page, and I sponged it and did some smush coloring using distressed inks, and then various word fetty that says be brave, peace, in love and faith. Faith, exactly what I needed, hope, pray, and love. So that is what I used. And then let's see here, that was number 8, and then I have 2 more. Here's the 9th one. Okay, and so here's the 9th entry, and this is Psalm 18, verse 6, and it says, in my distress I called upon the Lord. To my God I cried for help. From his temple he heard my voice, and my cry to him reached his ears. So in this one, I really wanted to focus on how God had answered my prayers, and he had answered all of our prayers, that the storm was just not nearly as bad as it could have been. I mean, yes, there were people who lost a lot, who lost almost everything, but so much could have been worse. I mean, they were saying that it could have been, it was being called Armageddon, but we were spared, and we had minimal damage. So I focused on the peace. That's what that tag says. I don't know if you can see it. I used here the clear cuts from the Geo Shapes pad from Illustrated Faith. The clear cuts, they are kind of almost like transparency. They are acetate sheets. And what's cute about this is that these actually open up. So I wrote the verse around these clouds, and the next day after the storm, we took a walk, and it was just a beautiful day. No, not the next day. It was later in the day, because it was still stormy and real windy the morning after the storm. But then later in the day, it was beautiful and sunny and breezy in these puffy clouds. So that was what I was trying to capture here. And if you, well, the Bible's been closed now, but these clouds, you can see how they just kind of stand up. So I did that on purpose, just using tape on both sides. You can use washi tape, but I wanted to keep it clear. So I put my journaling behind these clouds here. And I said, Lord, you heard my prayers and the prayers of others, and I just went on. You kept us safe. You calmed my fears. You are so faithful, Lord, to always take care of your children. So that was my 9th entry. And that was where I really just thanked and prayed the Lord for hearing our prayers and hearing my voice. And then finally, because Monday, the day after the storm, was 9/11, and I was so preoccupied with what was going on in my life that I forgot about the fact that it was 9/11. It was Patriot Day. And so then I wanted to journal this. So this was later in the night, but it was still a part of it, because don't forget what you've gone through, and just the fact that God is our refuge. And the text I went to was Psalm 61, verses 2 and 3, which says, lead me to the rock that is higher than I, for you have been my refuge, a strong tower against the enemy. So I used the heavy body acrylic paints here, and I embossed the white stars, and I embossed you can see how it's shimmery. I embossed this text here, and I hand wrote this, and I didn't like how this turned out, but it's about the process and about just worshiping God. And I will link, this came from an Insta friend on Instagram, and I scrap lifted her image. And I'm not sure if she got it from somewhere else, but she posted it, and I just really loved this script look, and so I recreated it myself. But I'll be sure to link her post. And so I did the stars and the red and I said freedom and remember. So this is how God got me through Hurricane Irma. And it was really a time where we could focus on what was important. We could focus on each other, focus on God. And we spent time together. We had extra time as a family. We were out of school for a whole week, and my son came home from college. And even though it was a scary, horrible experience, there were some memories created, and I journaled that experience. So let Bible journaling be that for you, a time where you can just document your faith and document your journey, and you can then go back and look at how God has brought you through. So thanks for joining me today. If you have any questions about any of these particular pages or anything you'd like to see, please join me. Please comment in the comment section, and I'll be sure to help you. And share the video, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, and join me next time. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.